Hi there. In this practical, what we're going to do is we're going to actually test and calibrate a digital thermometer and a manual thermometer. So there is a difference between the two. Obviously, one's digital, one's analog or manual. But it's also important to check your equipment before you do any practical work. It doesn't matter what type of practical it is, always check your actual equipment that you're using, because if it's not right for the job, you're not going to need it. So to calibrate it, all we're going to need is 2 beakers, one filled with ice, one filled with nothing. We've got a kettle just to the right here, which is just off screen, or left, which is just off screen. And we've got a digital thermometer. Now these digital thermometers go up to 300 degrees Celsius. Always check on your thermometer what it goes up to. If it goes up to 60, then there's not much point putting it in boiling water. So this one goes up to 300 degrees Celsius. This is a manual thermometer, an alcohol-based thermometer. This goes up to 110 degrees Celsius. So what we're going to do is we're going to test to see how accurate both of these are. For equipment, it doesn't matter whether a piece of equipment is overly accurate or not. You generally pay more for the more accurate equipment, but you need to know what the actual error point is. So how accurate are these? So for this quick practical, it's just about calibrating the equipment that you've got. So it's important to calibrate every small thing that you've got. So first of all, turn your thermometer on. And what we're going to do is we're going to actually get a beaker of hot water. Now this kettle's just boiled. And then what we're going to do is we're going to put that thermometer straight away into there. And the same with the other one. And what we're going to do is we're going to see roughly how accurate these two thermometers are. So when it levels out, both of them, we'll compare and contrast which one's the more accurate one out of the two, or whether they're pretty similar. So if we give that a couple of minutes, let the manual one get up to temperature, the digital one's already stabilized out. And if we have a check, we can actually see that the digital thermometer is reading 86.3 and the manual one is reading roughly around about 85.5. So there's a little bit of a difference between the two. 86.3, 85.5. There's roughly around about a 0.8 difference between the two. So that's with boiling water. Make sure that you can keep a note on everything. Make sure that you look at it. But we now know there's a 0.8 difference, 0.8 degrees Celsius difference between the digital thermometer and the manual thermometer. So we're going to do the exact same thing, but with cold water. Put that into the cold water and let's see what temperature we can get it to. So the digital thermometer is currently 11.1 degrees Celsius. The manual one is just still dropping. And it's around about 10.5. So if we leave this for a little bit longer, we'll see how far apart the two actually are. We'll wait till it stabilizes. So it's stabilized now and the digital thermometer is reading 8.9 and the manual thermometer is reading dot on 9. So for colder temperatures, probably slightly less now actually, because it's 8.6 the digital, and that's still at 9. So the difference between the two is roughly around about 0.5 to 0.8. That's not a bad thing. It's, as scientists and carrying out practical work, you always need to try and use the best equipment that you possibly can to make sure that you get the right results as you possibly can. So in this case, the digital thermometer is probably more accurate than the manual thermometer, but now we know that the manual thermometers are around about 0.8 degrees Celsius inaccurate, so plus or minus 0.8, which isn't that bad. But when you're doing practical work, you can mention when writing it up that one has an error range of this, and because it has an error range of this makes my results this accurate. It's always good to write things up in your practical work that if things aren't accurate, it could actually be the equipment. So that is a quick run through on how you calibrate digital and manual thermometers. The next videos that will be produced will be cooling curves and how you actually do the cooling curves. I'm comparing digital and manual thermometers between the two. Apart from that, I hope you found this video useful. Again, leave any comments for any of your tutors. They'll be happy to go through it. Each different comments, any different comments that you need to about the equipment or about the practical procedure itself. But take care. If you got any questions, feel free to ask us anytime. Ask your tutor or ask any of your technicians.